Oh, there you go, right there. Welcome back to the Roundtable, Week 6 edition. And we got our normal guests today. Today's probably going to be one of them shows where it's it'll be an instant classic for us because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of different opinions, go one way and go another way. And we just going to see, we're going to get into it. We're going to use the comments for, to kind of fuel the discussion also, but we're going to stick to our format of going down the offense first. Then we'll jump over to the defensive side, and then we'll talk about the guys that run the team. I don't know if we want to call them coaches or not, but we'll talk about those guys too. But let's just get everybody in to start with. The first up, we're going to have our lunch break hot take crew. We got Jose and B. What's good?
What's up? What's up? Thanks for having us on, Coach.
Appreciate it. And I was able to tag them in the description. So I think if you click on lunch break hot take, it'll take you to that page. That was something I learned from YouTube today as I was doing my description. I was able to add certain channels.
That's brand new. They just started that, yeah.
So I added lunch break hot take. So their information, if you click that, you can do that in the link below. I also did the same for OTR Mike. OTR Mike's the next guy up. His link's there too. What up, Mike?
What up? Another round table. Let's get it.
Same for Hendo. I put Hendo's down there as Ravens online ungatekeepers. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
His link is down there too. So if you want to follow him, it's anytime throughout the stream to make sure you stay up to date. Do the same also. And for our last guy, he didn't have a solo page, but I did link.
It's Chris. He's here on time. What's going on?
What's up, everybody?
Chris got a lot to say today.
I did link the Deep Cover podcast, and Chris is a part of the Deep Cover podcast, so you can check those guys out as well. But man, y'all know what it is. Let me get situated. Let's get right into it. We got a super chat already. Before I even got back over the screen, let's do this before we start. 10 from Brent says, I'm going to be driving for most of this, so I thought I would start off right while I have a chance. Love what you all do for us fans. This therapy is for on the real. Appreciate it, Brent. Appreciate it, Brent. Appreciate it. Brent always supporting, coming through every week. But let's start with what we normally do. QB play. And we probably should have saved this for last, but
hey, Coach.
Y'all want to save this for last?
Hey, Coach.
Let's save it for last.
Coach,
it's the elephant in the room.
There were people at like 10 a.m. waiting for this round table.
So you want to start on defense today then? Y'all want to start on defense?
We can go quarterback. It
doesn't matter.
We might as well just address it. Let's get it.
And I'll just circle around. I'll go last. So Jose, you start.
Yeah, this wasn't a good game for Lamar, obviously, right? I won't say from top to bottom he played a bad game. I don't think he was playing that bad for the most part. It was just a series of unfortunate events at the end there that really just killed it. And yeah, I hear everybody that's blaming Lamar today. Like, doesn't matter what the rest of the team is doing, and there's enough blame to go around, but you're the guy. You are the star of the team, and you can't do that in that situation, right? I understand you're trying to make a play, but if there's no play there, there's no play there. And if the defense can't do the job and hold the lead, then that's not on you. But you gave that game away, and then you fumbled again on the next possession. Two things you just can't have. But, I'm not too overly worried. We know that's, there's a lot more you can see, a lot better that you can see from Lamar. So, it's just a bad game. It happens to the best of them. So, it is what it is.
B? You muted, B.
My bad. Obviously, it wasn't his best game. He played poorly. Like Jose said, you can't make those mistakes at the end of the game. Even though other things went into both of those turnovers. He has to play smarter than that, right? You can't try to force the pass. On the fumble, you've got to be protecting the ball better than he was. I mean, he was just it was just hanging down there, asking to be knocked out, right? So yeah, I mean, I always find it tough to blame Lamar too much. Those plays are definitely on him, but it's really about the offense as a whole at this point. And I'm sure we'll get into that more at the other position group.
Mike, you up?
Look, man, y'all already touched on it. I mean, eight had a bad game. I mean, this season, right? His fourth quarter numbers and QBR has been in the trash, right? But I'm with B, man. Like, I find it hard to blame him just because of what he goes through, and I can't help when I'm watching him play in situations like that where he ain't got no help. And I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses for him, right? Because this is him. He can't make those mistakes. He got to protect the ball. He got to be smart, like B said. Everything B said. But down the stretch, right, in those key moments where everybody tighten up, defenses make adjustments. They know what's coming. He can actually trust 1.5 people out there. 1.5, and that's Mark Andrews, and half the time Devin Duvernay.
I thought you were gonna say himself.
Outside of that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just that part of it is where I'm like, bro, like he just don't have the help out there that we see these other guys have, and that's just what it is. No excuse for him, but at the end of the day, he needs some playmakers out there. Everybody was talking about how 14 of his completions were to tight ends or something like that. That's who he trusts on the field. That's all he trusts on the field. So that's where he's gonna go. So when you in a clutch moment like that, if he only trusting one part of the field, he's forcing it in that area, and that's just where he's going when he knows he needs to make a play. He doesn't have anybody else around there to make a play outside of himself, so he trusts that middle spot, and that's it. So, but he played bad. He had a bad game. He gotta be able to play better to close out some of these games. No question.
True that. Hendo?
Listen, I'm a little upset because I'm tired of hearing everybody put this loss on Lamar. Now, granted, he did not play well. His last 3 games, what is he averaging? Like 170 yards passing?
Well, this game he had 17 for 32 for 210 for this game. I don't know about
the last game was 174. The game before that was 144.
So right around 170 something, yeah.
So I'm not putting a loss on him, but as the franchise quarterback, he has to take some onus as to what went on. Everybody knows you do not throw over the middle late. But I see where he was going with it, because if you see your defense struggling to hold a lead, you're trying to make any play that you can to keep drives alive. Now, for me personally, I didn't think it was a good idea for him to be thrown to a fullback, because I don't think a fullback is actually going to compete for the ball.
Right.
If we had a different or better offense, maybe things would be different. So I kind of give him half credit, half of the blame for that, because he should know better by now, especially in his 5th year. The fumble, though, I give him full credit for that fumble, because you should not be holding the ball like that.
It was loosey-goosey.
Especially with bodies around you. You got it in one hand, holding it low. This is a problem that we had with Lamar in his first two and a half years. And it hasn't seemed to have been corrected. To me personally, I don't know. I don't know if it's something going on with him in the organization, but it comes a time where it's just like he gets frustrated to where he's like, listen, y'all don't want to play. I don't give a damn about playing. But yeah, he needs to kind of turn things around.
It looks that way. I haven't thought about it like that, but that's a good like interpretation of what I'm seeing on the screen. Chris?
Yeah, like everybody else said, it was disappointing to see. We expect a lot from Lamar. So to see him just like not be himself, to pretty much turn into Daniel Jones in the fourth quarter, it's jarring to see, because we're used to him being Superman.
Yep.
So for him to actually show, that weakness, it's frustrating, but at the same time, it's like, all QBs go through this at some point. Mahomes went through it. Josh Allen went through it. I see people saying he doesn't deserve a big contract, and that's nonsense. You don't have perfect games, so that means you don't deserve a big contract. Like body of work, that's what's important about it. Has he had his best stretch of games these last 3 weeks? No, but like I said, a couple years ago, Pat Mahomes went through the same thing where he went through a terrible stretch. So I
Last year
expect
he
him.
went through that.
Yeah, but he couldn't figure out the cover two business, and we see Joe Burrow going through it too, where he's having the same issue with cover two. So it's not great, but he has to fix it. He has to control what he can control.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's going to lead into what I was talking about. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, and there's too much hero ball. We can't have that. Sometimes you got to just take a loss, and when I say take a loss, I mean throw the ball away. All right, nothing's there, nobody's open. Let me just throw this ball away.
Yep.
Instead of forcing it to Pat Ricard. You cannot do that. And hopefully this is, learning lessons for him and stuff he could build on. But not great from Lamar yesterday.
So Chris, he mentioned it a minute ago about controlling what you can control. And that's only as far as Lamar, he touches the ball every play, so he can control a lot. He made a ton of good plays in the game. A ton of good plays. But just I think about how when I was on the Queen soapbox and I talked about like he made like 90% of the plays, but then when it's crunch time come, he didn't make plays. Same difference. Lamar made a ton of good plays, but in crunch time, he didn't. He missed a couple of deep throws. That not to say if somebody else would have been that receiver, they would have been caught because they were farly overthrown. But the last two plays in question. First of all, it's a fumble. You fumble the ball and you're athletic enough to get it picked up. That's a negative in itself right there. That's lets you know that something's wrong right off the bat. Then you pick it up and try to throw it to a stationary fullback. When the entire defense is flowing in the same direction you're throwing to, and you throw it to a stationary fullback, that's mental. That's mental. Now, that part of the game and the way he held the ball in that fumble, coaches, that ain't on the coaches. That part is him. Now, I will say by him having a bad game, when you look at the all 22, and I ain't looked at it all yet because I recently got it, a lot of them cats not open. The only people getting open is Andrews and likely a little bit. And you see the two catches Oliver made. They're the only cats that's getting separation. Nobody else is open out there. Nobody. And the Giants, I can't name a Giants cornerback. And we weren't getting separation from them. I can't name one.
Adoree Jackson's the only one.
And did he play?
He did. Only because he was drafted in the first round by Tennessee. That's the only reason why people know him.
He's from USC.
He's a good kick returner.
Facts.
The fact that we let Walmart workers cover our receivers lets us know that we have a glaring hole. And I used to be on the positive half full cup. Hendo will tell you, empty. Got nothing for these cats. Nothing. But before we go to running backs, I'm gonna read this super chat. Marco G donated $5. He said if wide receivers can't get open or catch, it's on them. But overthrows and bad throws, fumbles and crucial moments have been on LJ and the coaches. They got bad habits. Now, I will say this. If he have bad habits and they ain't correcting them or they not addressing them, that's on them. Because it's an old adage in coaching. Either you coaching it or you letting it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the two going on. One of the two. Anybody else on Lamar? Want to speak on Lamar?
I think the only thing I want to say is, we all know it was a mental error to throw that ball to Pat Ricard, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of in panic mode and you're just trying to make something happen. We saw the same thing from Pat Mahomes at the end of that Buffalo game. He did basically the same thing. He was running away from pressure, threw a bad pass, got it picked off. But as far as throwing it to Pat Ricard, if that's who that team is going to put on the field in that
Thank you.
situation,
Thank
then
you.
I can't blame Lamar for that. There
Okay.
is absolutely no reason for a fullback to be running a route
Running routes.
on an NFL team in that situation. So, I mean, if he's out there, you got to throw him the ball.
Hendo, I got an option for you.
Yes, sir.
Would you rather that been Ricard or Prochet?
Crochet all day.
The outcome would have been exactly the same.
You don't know
That's
that.
all right.
At
I
least
think
would have been
Crochet
incomplete.
would have tried to attack the ball.
At least would have been
Understood.
incomplete.
Crochet too slow to attack the ball.
First of all, Brodney, you would have at least seen a figure in slow motion running toward the ball. At least Ricard just stood there like.
I don't think he was expecting it.
Why would he be?
I'm just out here to block, man. I don't know what you're doing.
Why you throwing me routes?
I'm a
He
decoy.
said, I'm a fullback. You didn't give me my tight end money, so
How about that?
So, but let's go on. Let's transition into wide receiver. Let's talk about wide receiver play, and we'll
Should be
reverse
quick.
it. I know. So, Chris, you up first. Wide receiver play.
There were wide receivers on the field.
Oh, oh, let's go tight end play then.
The tight ends were great.
So I'll give you this tight end stats real quick. Andrews 7 for 106, likely 2 for 30, Oliver 2 for 21, and that's what 7, 9. That's 11. 11 of the 17 completions went to tight ends.
5 went to wide receivers. 1 went to fullback.
Yeah.
Say Robinson with 2, Duvernay with 1, Wallace with 1. Yep, there you go. Hendo got it. Go ahead, Chris.
So I give the tight ends a lot of credit. You know, Mark Andrews did his thing. A lot of people put that the deflection in the end zone on him. That's a hard, really, really hard adjustment to make.
It is.
You know, that ball is coming in hot. You know,
And then the deflection, it didn't lose a lot of speed with the deflection either, even though it was tipped.
There was one. There was another one too, close to the sideline. That one, I think he should have had. I think he got both mitts on it, but it was a little high. But I think he should have had it. That's the catch you make. And then Josh Oliver. I mean, he's been every week. It seems like he gets better, like blocking wise. Yesterday we saw him make some crazy catches. With the being able to have that catch radius where Lamar doesn't have that with wide receivers. Duvernay's 5'4". We got the other guys too, so there's no catch radius there.
Not Chris too.
He was going, diving all over the place like Spider-Man getting those catches. So I've been really impressed with Oliver going through the season, just in all facets of the game. And that's pretty much it for the pass catchers for me.
He changed it to pass catchers. Go ahead, Hendo.
Demarcus Robinson, he is who he thought he was. Nobody. I know some people thought he was.
You called it.
I know some people was like, oh, he played with Patrick Mahomes. He had 400 yards. But Devin Duvernay, I know that's Mikey's boy. Just because of that, I'm not going to go in on him. But he did have a drop. It was a ball that he had in both hands. He should have caught. And I know people keep skipping over that. But listen, Devin Duvernay is a third-round wide receiver. We didn't expect much from. I still think that he's playing better than we expected him to. So I give him credit for that, but he's just not a number one. He's not a number two. He's a good gadget piece. He's a good guy to throw in there, run special plays with. Now, contested catches, A+. Tight ends, Mark Andrews, he had a decent game. And like you said, the ball was tipped going to him, but he has problems catching. It's starting to rear its ugly head again. Even on a touchdown catch, he had. I mean, Jose talked about it yesterday. He bobbled it. He almost dropped that touchdown.
Face.
No, the one in the right hand side.
Oh
he
no,
for.
I'm talking about the drop. Like, okay, yes, yeah, he almost dropped that one too.
But he bobbled most of his catches. Like most of the catches that came to him, he double clutched them.
Yeah,
in big games and in certain moments, like Mark Andrews he's that guy, but I don't trust him in big moments. He'll get his stats because that's all he seems to be worried about. Josh Oliver, highly surprised. Listen, I gave him a standing ovation because I was like, I did not know you had it in you. He is out there trying to keep his job. Isaiah Likely, bravo, bravo. But more importantly, I want to give a hand clap to Nick Boyle. How do you steal $7 million and don't even make the field?
Hey, he should have been on Takers with T.I. now.
But yeah, they, overall, this isn't the move. And I know a lot of fans and a lot of people in the chat, like, they want to sit up there and big up some people's, but I look at the totality of everything. Look at who we went against. Look at the people that we went against. The Giants have nobody. They have Dexter Lawrence and rookie Thibodeau.
Yep.
That's all they have, and we weren't able to really muster much of a passing offense. But, hopefully something happens. We get it together. Savior Deshaun Jackson may be coming in, and we'll go from there.
Ooh, I think me and Deshaun went to, like, the same prom or something. We was in high school together.
Probably so.
Mikey, you up?
I saw something online today that said that when Deshaun Jackson got to the league, 8 was 11 years old.
Wow.
So that'll put it in perspective for you a little bit. But
that's correct.
I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but I just don't. We don't have nothing. We got Andrews. I do want to give Andrews some props because he is that guy that they know they got to take out of the game, and at least the last 2 weeks, he's been showing that even when they are trying to take him out, he's the one consistent piece that they have. Other than that, he got a bunch of 4 and 5 receivers out there.
Yep.
And then some of them wouldn't even be that. Some of them would be practice squad dudes.
Yep.
I said on this show before, you got a Ferrari, you putting 87 gas in it. You know what I'm saying? You putting Royal Farms 87 gas in it.
That's been sitting in the rain.
That's like you just it's just not going to perform the way you want it to when you're doing that. So
that's what the car doing down the road, Mike.
Yep, it's funny. Everybody looking like, man, that's a Ferrari, but it looked like it got a lawnmower engine in it. You know what I mean?
No, it's a Ferrari got lawnmower parts.
Yeah,
it got lawnmower parts. That's surrounding gas.
But I'm with Chris. Like, wide receivers where, man? We just don't have it. And I know they're gonna beat Lamar up, and I know this show has a wide cast, and I might become the Lamar defender. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if Lamar had the type of talent surrounding him like some of these other guys, and he making those mistakes, throw it 100% on 8. But to B's point, if 42, if the fullback is out there running the route, he's got to be one of my options, and he's the one that I seen open in that play. Bad pass or not, he's out there. I'm trying to make a play. So it's just disappointing, man, that he don't have no talent around him, man. It's depressing to watch every week, and Tylen Wallace is out there, DeMarcus Robinson, like these are cats. Duvernay, Duvernay has been my homeboy the last couple of weeks, but Duvernay legitly is a 3 or 4 wide receiver on a contending team.
Mm-hmm.
So you got him as your 1, you got Robinson as your 2 right now. Like, it's just ugly. It's a bad sight.
B?
Yeah, absolute trash. Just the worst. Outside, Mark Andrews, obviously he had himself a decent game. This to address what Chris said about the tip. Yeah, it's a hard catch, right? But you know what? It's hard to make a play when Pat McCarry gets beat by Kayvon Thibodeau and the front or the interior line is getting caved in too. But we're not making an excuse for Lamar fumbling that ball. You got to catch it. If you're the guy, you're the guy, right? So Mark's got to catch the ball. Lamar's got to hold on to the ball. The wide receivers, I'll just say it again, trash, garbage. And I don't, we do this every week, and we all, gave praise to Devin Duvernay. I see, in the comments that you're putting up, people talking about Josh Oliver. These guys aren't good. Josh Oliver had 2 catches for 20 yards. Don't praise that. That's why this team is talking about Deshaun Jackson, because y'all get behind players like this. Y'all support players like this. I'm not saying you gotta, go out and harass them on Twitter or anything, but don't talk about how great they're playing. They're not.
Excuse me,
They
Brandon.
shouldn't be on the field.
Brandon, are you saying that our standards are low?
Are
you saying we got low? We got low standards when it comes to wide receivers.
What standards? It's 3 a.m. and referencing wide receivers. It's 3 a.m. and we've been out having a good time. And ain't nobody answered them texts. Them what's up texts. So it's 3 a.m. That's what we are with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
So you know what your standards do then. That's what we get with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
You just sent about 3 hey big heads. and nobody hit you back. So now you scroll all the way down to that, it's 3:00 in the morning. What's gonna happen?
But just the last thing about the wide receivers, they didn't go after Robbie Anderson. Obviously, he got traded to the Cardinals. He would have come in and instantly been the best wide receiver on the team, right? Yep. You're talking about Deshaun Jackson. The sad thing, they signed Deshaun Jackson, he might be the best wide receiver on the team. That's how bad it is in Baltimore. And I know that you guys a lot of people were slandering Rashad Bateman before he got hurt about dropping the ball, but at least the offense was moving when he was out there. At least there were guys getting open who had opportunities to make plays when Rashad Bateman was out there. So, he's got to come back, and DaCosta has to do something. He's got to prove why he's even the GM of this team at some point. Yeah. Right.
Are we going to talk? Are we going to have a segment for GMs?
We can. We can put them with coaches. We put them with coaches.
Okay, yes. We're going to talk about some EDC here in a minute. Look, I'm critical of Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, I think, is the second best tight end in the league behind Travis Kelce.
Thanks.
Right. And obviously he's a Raven, so we're going to hype him up and we're going to say he's elite and all that. But I said it on our show, I don't think he's a star player. Right. Very good. He's very hard to stop. You got a game plan a little bit for him, but he's not one of those guys where it's just like, this guy could really hurt us if we don't really game plan for him. He makes some good catches sometimes. He's hard to bring down. He's physical, but he's not one of those guys where it's like, man, if he catches the ball in open space, he could really hurt us, And I'm critical of those drops. And again, these are minor criticisms. Like for the most part, I think he had a good game. But he had like 3 or 4 drops in the game. That one, yes, it's tough. I get it. But if you're going to say he's elite, if the ball hits you in the face, you got to catch it. Like you got to be able to make that adjustment and catch it. It's hard. It is hard.
Does Kelce catch that one, Jose?
Yes. I mean that'd be one of his 5 touchdowns he had on the day. Yes, I think Kelce catches it. But look. Everybody has bad games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Andrews had a necessarily bad game. It wasn't his best game. So I mean, Kelce could have very well dropped that pass, and I'll be saying the same thing about Kelce. If you're gonna be an elite player, you gotta make that catch. So that's my only criticism there. But other than that, he's the constant. The only constant that Lamar has on the team. Nobody else is worth talking about. I mean, we talked about the wide receivers had a total of 5 catches. I don't even think they had 50 total yards. Between the wide receivers.
I'll tell you, hold on. 27,
45, I believe.
27. Duvernay had 14, so that's 41. Mm-hmm. And Tylen Wallace had 4, so that's 45.
I mean, look, we're beating the dead horse. There's not much to say about the wide receivers. There's nothing there, and that's a failure on EDC.
Yeah. And as far as my take on wide receiver, tight end, Mark Andrews, consistent, despite a couple drops, but he's still consistent, doing his thing. And the thing is, he's the man, and everybody knows ball going to him, and he's still getting 100+ yards. Yep. So that is a positive, but I want him to catch everything.
Yeah.
If he's going to be the elite guy, the top 1 or 2 tight end, he need to catch everything. The rest of the receiving core, if you don't know who Bubba Dub is, look him up. Trash. And that's all I got to say about it. Go see who Bubba Dub is, and you'll get a good laugh out of it. But his main thing is trash. I don't even want to talk about it. No, we need receivers, and I don't know the answer. Odell's not coming here. Isabella's there, but I don't know how much he'll help, if at all. Bateman will come back, but Bateman's not a. Is Bateman a needle mover?
I think he is for
Right.
the offense, just in terms of them not looking like they belong in Division II in college. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to come back and be, an elite receiver or anything like that. But right now, like you said, nobody can get open on the field.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I think he moves the deal a little bit.
Thanks.
Gotcha. And so I did skip this part. Let's bounce back to running backs. I didn't mean to, but I skipped running backs. Oh, let me hit this super chat too. God, dog, I let it get away from me. But we're gonna start with running backs. And Jose, you with that one.
Running
You
back.
up on that one.
I mean, look, Kenyon Drake looked great, and we just stopped giving him the ball. I don't understand that. I mean, they had no answers there. Why aren't you giving what the defense, or aren't you taking what the defense gives you? Every time he got the ball in his hands, he's getting 10 plus yards. So keep handing the ball off until they figure out how to stop it. Like, that's what you're supposed to be about. You're supposed to be about running. So why are you switching up now? Like that. All right, that we'll leave that for the coaches. But Kenyon Drake had an excellent day. I think J.K. Dobbins got hurt. Is that what happened with him?
Soft tissue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So look, we got over 100 yards rushing, I believe. So I mean, I would say good but incomplete.
119, 10 for 119.
Yeah,
that's 11.9 yards per carry.
We could easily had over 200 yards rushing, and we were talking about a different game.
Lamar 7 for 77, 11 yards per carry. As a team, 8.8 yards per carry, 211 yards total.
We could have a lot more. We could have a whole lot more.
This is nuts. But again, I'll go ahead and my list spiel with JK. I mean, not with JK, with Kenyon Drake. Great game. Did some stuff that I didn't think he still could do. As I pointed out in the film I did before we came on. If you don't know, go check that out. He looked like and Kenyon Drake that came out of Bama. He looked like that guy for a game. And I don't know if he needed to get his legs up under him or what, but it's all gap stuff. But we'll talk about that when we get to coaching too. It's Kenyon Drake, he did his thing. I'll just leave it at that. B.
Yeah, Kenyon Drake obviously had a great game for as long as they let him. JK, hopefully he didn't, re-aggravate that injury. But obviously, he wasn't running particularly well, and he came out. He didn't play in the second half. Lamar ran well, consider when he had to run. But yeah, I mean, it's just this is a group that needs to be addressed in coaching, because what it really comes down to is the coaching staff in Baltimore are frauds.
Yep.
But Kenyon Drake did great.
Mike?
Yeah, I mean, this classic case of not riding the high hand. I mean, the dude showed that he was ripping them apart.
Yep.
And out of that, he got 10 carries. You averaging 12 yards a pop. We are supposed to be, that's part of our identity is being a run first team, and we go away from the high hand. I don't get it. The word on JK is that his knee was stiff. So I don't know if it was the one he had repaired or what, but let's hope that that turns out okay.
He made a mean cut that I didn't think he was ready to make, and I can't remember seeing him afterwards.
And you know what they say about that field. I mean, we complained about that field in the preseason.
Mike, check this out. I was starting the video I just did, and I showed Kenyon Drake's first touchdown. There is a T. You can see a literal T in like the turf is separating on there, and I outlined in the video. It's one coming from the back of the end zone toward the front, and there's one coming down the middle of the end zone, and that shit horrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's well known that turf is a monster over there. So let's hope that JK is okay with that. But I mean, should have kept going with Drake. Drake looked explosive. I mean, this is what we wanted. Coming, maybe he needed a few weeks off or something like that to get his mind right. But when they signed him, this is kind of what we expected or wanted to see at least. So running backs overall did well.
Hendo.
Kenyon Drake had a great game. The Giants defense was just what he needed. I mean, what else can we say? It's just, hey, we ran on him.
They was par for the course, huh?
Yes, sir.
Chris?
Yeah, man, like that jump cut where he took it to the outside, that's like that was one of the most impressive runs I've seen from a Ravens back this season. And for him to do that, that was like what college dudes do. You know, and for him to do that at the NFL level, I was not expecting that because I thought he was toast. I thought he was done. But I mean, I think they said it during the broadcast that I think Roman. They mentioned that Roman said that he finally looks like he has his legs up under him again. I think you mentioned that earlier, Coach, where it looked like, you know, he kind of turned back the clock and had those Bama legs under him yesterday.
Right.
So great game from him. Like Jose said, what are you guys doing? Like, why are we not doing that? Like, why don't we continue with what's working? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. The dude is, you know, getting, you know, 10 a clip, and you want to stop doing that? Like, that doesn't make sense
at all. 0 cents. Again, 11, and I didn't notice until I said a minute ago. Him and Lamar both average 11 yards a carry. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And then, you know, the thing with JK too, you know, a lot of people speculating like, are they having him on a pitch count? But I think the last carry that he had, you see him make a cut up the middle, and he just kind of like hops up like the rest of the way, and you don't really see him plant that leg again after that. So I would like to know what's going on there, because you don't just, that's not just, oh, it's sore. That's something happened on this play, and I can't put any more weight on this leg. So let's see. I'm hoping for the best with him, because, like, you know, like Endo said, with that field, you never know.
Yeah, that field is trash. Anybody else got something for wide receiver? I mean, running backs. All right, let's go to the big fellas. We go with some O-line play. Chris, back on you. No, we'll start off with Mike.
O-line, I mean, I think O-line had a few they had a few mistakes and key points. Like the snap obviously is one that you can't have that in that moment. I think after the game, Lamar said it, you know, snap came a little earlier than it was supposed to, or something like that. So you can't have those mistakes. I think overall, if you look at the box score, I think 2 sacks total, which, you know, to the naked eye is a good thing. But, you know, Lamar was under a good bit of pressure. You know, we lost Morgan Moses. We'll see how long that, you know, he's out for. They said he did come back on the sideline afterwards. And Harb just said he thought it would be the best decision just to keep him out. So sound like he could have possibly went back in. But then that left, you know, Ronnie. Ronnie could no more pitch count because he had to get out there. So I think overall I'd say an okay day for the big fellas. Couple mistakes there, man, that got to be cleaned up, but you know, and major mistakes. Yeah, I'm not going to try to diminish what it was. Like I said, the snap, you can't happen. Makari, you know, Thibodeau got around there real quick on that on that fumble, on that strip. So we just gotta tighten up there. But overall, okay day for them.
Hendo.
Listen, I'm gonna say they did well for the day, but I'm gonna give them an incomplete because, listen, as far as the run game goes, if you watch some of those Kenyon Drake runs, he had holes. Like Powers went out there and was looking around for somebody to block. It was so wide open. But I'm gonna give them I'm just gonna give the offensive line an incomplete until further notice, because I need for them to give me a game where they do well pass blocking and run blocking, because one game is this, one game you do well at that. We never can put a complete game together where we do both well. I don't know why, but they seem to struggle, and the penalties are killing me. Like, it's just like the more games that go on, the more penalties and procedural penalties we get on the Ravens, and there were a couple that weren't called.
Right.
They missed a few. Now I want to hear you, coach, talk about the penalties that they didn't call on the Ravens, since you like calling out penalties and stuff.
Oh, I didn't say anything but this game.
No.
We got away with
That's not what I'm talking about, coach. I'm talking about you love to talk about the penalties that we don't get.
Oh, come on, for us?
Yeah. So now I need you to reverse that.
Oh yeah.
And talk about the penalties that they don't.
Why would we do
call
that, Hendo?
Because we
it's
definitely
fair. Because it's fair.
We definitely got the touchdown. That was
you know
3
what Hendo
seconds
is?
after.
You know what Hendo is? That guy. You guys remember that commercial where the kid at the basketball game where the kid's like, I touched the ball, coach. It was out on me.
Oh,
that's
when he
Hendo.
comes,
Everybody's telling him to shut up, coach. I touched it.
Yeah, and the coach is like, "Yeah, good job being honest. Sit your punk ass on the bench."
Wow.
Good job,
Andy.
though.
Honest Andy. But you're right though. We got away with the touchdown, and sometimes it's in our favor, sometimes it's not. But
your boy Jones with the hands to the face for his sack. That was the first play, and they just looked at him like,
Oh, what you're talking about.
Yeah. Like he been struggling. He needed something, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I Travis Jones is my next video, so I got it loaded up in the background. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Oh, you gonna take that part out?
Probably now I am.
But nah, listen. I just want for the offensive line to have a complete game, and especially with the defenses we've been playing, because a lot of them been injured, been missing people, and we just can't seem to put it together. And I know people are like, "Oh, you're nitpicking," but this is important. Because regular season is fine and it's dandy for the teams that we're playing. But if we actually make it to the playoffs, it's going to be really important that we put together a full game.
Chris?
Yeah, I think they played well, but you can't give them a great grade because of they're self-sabotaging. I mean, these penalties are avoidable. It's not like, this is just some bogus calls like hands to the face or something like that. This is what you control. The snap count. Linderbaum, I obviously you don't want to see it, but he's a rookie, so there are going to be some growing pains when it comes to these things, especially the silent count on the road. That could be difficult for a rookie center to handle, but I think he'll get it. And just, the O-line as a whole, I mean, Ronnie played well. Ben Powers played well. And it was mostly Linderbaum and what's his name, Moses, with the penalties. They were just killing them.
And Ricard.
And Ricard too. No, that penalty was not on Stanley.
Oh, was
the last one?
Yeah, they called it on Stanley, but that was not on Stanley. Stanley was in the right place.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on Ricard.
So Ricard got 2 of them. Okay.
Ricard got 3 then.
Oh, 3?
Yeah, Ricard was. I don't know why they said Ronnie, but it was Ricard that was lined up in the wrong place on the third down.
Ricard got 3. Morgan Moses got 2. Who else got?
Linderbaum got 1. No, Linderbaum didn't.
No, it wasn't Linderbaum.
I think that's it.
Okay, so 5 pre-snap penalties.
We had 10, I think. We had 10 penalties. I don't know about pre-snap, but we had 10 penalties, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I know. A couple on defense.
It was 10 penalties for 74 yards. So that's about right with the pre-snap. And those to me are inexcusable.
There was 2 on the same set of downs.
Yeah, I think one was Ricard and one was Moses. I think.
Yeah, I think both of Morgan Moses.
So here's what it is. Jose's on you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, let's pick it up. We're talking about the
penalties.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm good. Those penalties, stop that shit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, penalties. 2 penalties on the same set of downs. I don't understand how that can happen. Like, if you're a professional football team, how does that happen? And this is what I wonder about this coaching staff. Like, there are some plays I feel like they're just not really practicing. They're just not on the same page. You can see what they're on the same page about, and that's the running, right? There's no issues there. So keep doing that. But the things that we're trying to do to change it up, I don't know. Everybody keeps doing making the same mistakes. That's not that they're bad, they're bad plays necessarily. That's there's something wrong with the overall coaching if they're all making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So yeah, it's tough, right? It's tough. They play well at times, but they made some bullheaded mistakes. So nobody's getting a good grade for me. So I'll say they did average overall.
Okay, B.
I'd give them probably a D plus. There was a lot of good there, obviously, with the run game, and I think even in pass protection they were okay. But then, like you guys talked about, they had the penalties, a lot of penalties, just a ridiculous number of penalties, and then the O-line were major contributors to both of those turnovers at the end of the game. So can't really say they had a good day.
What I say about it is executing, they had a okay to decent day, but those pre-snap penalties could take that grade from a B to pretty much an F. And the reason I say that because if we don't get that very last penalty, the game's over. If we don't have that very last penalty, the game's over because we get that first down, and they have to start using their timeouts. So then we get a second first down, then we are kneeling the ball. So if we don't get that last penalty, which that was the penalty before he threw the ball away, right? Threw it to Ricard and got interception. If we don't get that penalty, game over. So execution after the whistle, great in the run game, but before the whistle, horrible. Before the whistle, horrible. We got a super chat. Let me hit that real quick. Brandon dropped 10. He says, if we fire Harbs, who would you like to see replace him hypothetically? That's a good question before we transition over. Or do we want to say that one to coaching? You want to say that from coaching?
Sure.
Okay.
You want to answer? Yeah, we can. Yeah.
But we can answer now. The Dolphins coach for me. The Dolphins old coach.
Flores.
Yep.
I like Byron Leftwich.
I take that too. Fire them all.
John Madden.
I'll take Byron Leftwich or Bieniemy.
Yeah, I think I would go with an offensive-minded guy. I think I would go with Byron Leftwich. He's an offensive guy, and he was a former player. I like the former players being coaches, too. You relate to the guys. He knows what Lamar's going through in a way. He can relate to him. So, and then he also, I'm pretty sure he learned a hell of a lot from Tom Brady, too, that he could pass on to Lamar. So I would like that as well.
Mike
somebody in the chat said Leslie Frazier. I like that, too.
Oh, I like Leslie. Leslie graduate of the cone. Leslie graduate of the cone. B.
Mike.
That don't matter. One of y'all.
Go ahead, Mike.
So ideally, right? I need the Steelers to keep losing. They let my man go, and we go get him, right? But we know that's not going to happen.
Are you talking about Mike Tomlin?
Mike Tomlin. We need the Steelers to keep losing. They fire Mike Tomlin, and then he just comes to Baltimore. I take that. If not that, I'd go with I'd say Leftwich. I'd even go with Leftwich over Bieniemy right now. Just a young mind, young offensive mind. Me and Hendo kind of was going back and forth on Twitter about this. My fear is firing Harbaugh is that they just going to hire within, right? And then it's not going to be
the same cycle.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So if we're going to get rid of him, I'd rather keep him if we just going to hire somebody within, right? If we're going to get rid of him, we need a whole new voice around here, whole new system, whole new everything. Other than that, keep him. Because if you just going, it's the same person. It's the same ideas. It's the same mindset if you hiring within. So that's my fear about firing Harbs.
B.
I would say if you're going to go offensive minded, then Byron Leftwich. If defensive minded, like you said, Brian Flores. But I think you all know that what would really happen is they would talk to him. He would say, "Okay, I'm gonna agree to step aside. I'm gonna go upstairs, and then we're gonna hire Jim."
From Michigan, right?
Yes.
Which is crazy. Heather says if Harbs is fired, she'd like Sean Payton. I wouldn't be mad at Sean Payton either.
But it'd be like the Celtics with what's his name, Brad Stevens. I'm not doing a great job. I'm gonna give myself a promotion, and then bring somebody else in
who went to the finals.
Yeah.
Again, so that's the wrap up of the offense. And before we flip over to defense, I gotta do my due diligence. Give me a minute, fellas, so y'all know what time it is. I gotta make sure I handle the business and pay the bills around here.
Do it.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever put your drip on to step out and thought something was missing? I got the perfect thing for you, Hive Eyewear. They are providing one of life's most important accessories, the frame. With every outfit, eyewear is the cherry on top of the cake. Fellas, I know you're always looking for the perfect gift for your significant other. Hive has a style to fit every personality. They also have what I need to look my best also. If you want to live the Hive life, tap into Hive Eyewear. To be your flyest, follow on IG at Hive_Hive and at HiveLife.com on your browsers. They also have gift card options. And if you hang around to purchase, put in code SIP to tally for a 10% discount. Again, live the Hive life, be your flyest. Had to get that intermission out the way. I appreciate it. So the rest of the show is going to be brought to you by Hive Life. I'm going to keep these shades on as long as I can.
Okay.
And we're going to roll on the defense side.
I want to add one more thing, Coach.
Go ahead.
Shout out to everybody that's donating in the super chat. Respect. If you really want to show Coach some love, right below Mikey in that corner right there, $ IvanEvans. Okay, that's the Cash App right there. That's the Cash App right there. There you go, Mikey. That's the Cash App. Okay, that's the real super chat right there. If you feeling super duper, you gonna hit up that Cash App and support your boy. That's all I want to say.
Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that because I had a guy. I did get Cash App yesterday, and I didn't shout him out because my phone be on silent. So I want to make sure I do that now if I can get to. All right, I ain't gonna say your last name. I'm just gonna initially KP. I appreciate the 10 you sent in Cash App. It doesn't go unnoticed. So when I do my weekly, roll up of, and show who donated, I make sure to put you on there. I appreciate the KP. And again, that Cash App is down at the bottom, $, IvanEvans. Appreciate it.
And fun fact, you can leave a comment in the Cash App as well. So,
Sure can.
True.
And it's one of these streaming yard things is a tip jar too. That's just as important as a Cash App. I'll make sure I tag it one of them, but it's going up and down. And for those that don't know, you old heads, I know pretty much everybody up here know that Big Tigger is a hip hop legend.
Yes,
and he's a big supporter of Hive. So if you don't know who Big Tigger is, go search him up.
Okay.
Go catch one of them old Basement episodes, especially the one with Lil Wayne was on there. Super 5, DMX, Tupac, and the basement, Rap City, the basement on was freestyle. No, it was on Fridays, wasn't it?
Freestyle Fridays.
Used to be a host of WPGC over here in DC.
Yeah. Okay. So that the Maryland area people know Big Tigger already. I know he relocated down to ATL, which is kind of where Hive is located at. So again, let's jump into this defense. We're gonna start with the D line.
Let me say one more thing, Coach, about the offense.
Cool.
406 total offensive yards to 200 and something.
No, I think it might have been. We were 211 rushing, 210 passing. How more balanced can you get that?
Yeah,
and you lose the game. Those type of things just can't happen. That's all I'm gonna say.
Turnovers and penalties.
Right. D line, Hendo.
Listen, I got to shout out Calais Campbell.
Who?
Calais Campbell.
Wrong shout out.
Wrong shout out.
Travis Jones.
He ain't gonna give Travis no love.
Who?
Listen, congratulations to the young buck for getting his first sack. Listen, this has got to be a special feeling. I mean, he did have his hands up in the dude's face mask, but he got the sack regardless. So listen, but in all seriousness, he looks good. The young boy looks good. I think with the right coaches and refining his technique, I think he's actually going to be a good one. Calais Campbell, he was very active and spry yesterday for his old age. Jason Pierre-Paul, he tried. He just not, his body not there right now. I think he needs to get in football shape, but he's giving that effort. So I'm glad that they signed Jason Pierre-Paul because he's playing hard. He's like Josh Bynes and Justin Houston, like they wanted. You can tell that they wanted. The body might not be willing, But I mean, the mind might be willing and the body's just not able, but they're out there giving the effort. I give D-line credit. They really didn't get as much.
Saquon, the second lead rusher in the league, had 83 yards.
He
I'm just throwing it out there.
He did.
A lot of it came in the second half when it counted. But
listen, Coach, they did an excellent job on Saquon for what he's been doing, especially the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the offensive line that they went up against, they should have dominated. But they did a good job. So
I will say this about the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Their interior O-line is
good.
I'll finna say the tackle's good. I think the tackle's good.
Okay.
I think both of their tackles good. I think the interior is where you have them at, but I think their tackles are good. Evan Neal and I forget the other cat name.
Andrew Thomas.
Yeah, I think those guys are pretty good. And Neal didn't play bad.
He didn't.
Now that might be a function of who he had to block, but but yeah, no, they've got the bookend tackles going on. They need to kind of clean up the interior a bit, but they're on their way with the O-line.
True. You go ahead. You step in there, B, unless you want to.
Okay. You mean since I just jumped in?
No, transition. That's how you transition.
No, I thought the D-line did well. Like you said, they bottled up Saquon for the most part, which I don't think any of us thought was going to be possible for Baltimore.
I did.
No, you didn't.
I did.
No, you didn't. But they got after Daniel Jones. I believe they had 4 sacks, 5 hits. They had, I think it was like 5 or 6 tackles for loss. So I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, just in general, I thought the defense played pretty well yesterday. So yeah, I mean, it was a pleasant surprise from the D-line, I thought.
Jose?
Yeah, I don't have much more to add to that. Shout out to Travis Jones. All right. I think we're going to see more of that. He looks like he's getting up to speed, and it's much needed. So, no, that's it. The defense played well. The D-line played well. I'm not going to say they played great, but they played well.
Chris?
Yeah, I thought they played well, too. I thought Justin Madubuike had a good game. He's turning into, one of those guys who, he could be a foundation piece for this team with the way he's been playing. So shout out to him. And then Travis Jones, we see him coming along. It's taking some time, but he's coming along. He looked really good yesterday. A guy who's kind of been disappointing is Washington. There were times where he was just getting bullied in a run game yesterday where he's like 3 yards back and Travis Jones is like 5 yards forward, and that can't happen. So he's been really disappointed because he was a guy who the arrow was pointing up a little bit and it's kind of just gone back down. So, but overall, I thought they did well.
They're just trying to cover the whole area, Chris, is all.
He got to drop back for the linebackers.
Hey, I'm distracted. I'm sorry. I'm trying to see why you pissing though. Agent E seems to think you pissed about something.
I don't. That's why I'm like, what am I? Hey, Shug, stop, Shug. I'm not. You've never seen me mad, Shug.
Mikey, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think they played well. I mean, I think 3 of the 4 sacks came from the inside guys. So I think that goes to what you said, Coach, about the Giants inside guys on the offensive line, not their strong suit. So I think they took advantage of that. All things considered, they kept Saquon bottled in. Calais, he played solid, and I think the more Travis Jones steps up and they can get more of a rotation in there, I think the better Calais will play because he won't have to be out there as much. Looks like Travis is getting his legs in there, getting his football NFL legs together. So, that's a positive thing. We'll see how that goes. But overall, man, I think the D-line played well. Madubuike, man, he looking like he's gonna price himself out of here eventually. That's the way he started to look. So we'll see. But if we can keep him and Travis Jones can continue to project up, man, that you got a good 1-2 punch inside there.
Hey, Mike. He's not gonna price himself out. because if you haven't noticed, the new trim with
They
Baltimore,
paid those guys, the inside guys.
no. Once you start getting to a certain threshold, they start taking away your snaps or sabotaging you.
Yeah.
So as
See
you
a lot
can
of
see,
Brent Urban.
yeah, listen, Matabike should be on the field a lot more than he is
Yeah, he's been the most consistent one.
all year long.
And I miss anybody at D line? That's on me. I think it's on me then. Matabike most consistent. Travis finally played well enough not for Hendo to bash my head in about him. The other guys, Calais gives us what he can, but he need to be. That's what need to be on the snap count. And then Urban actually playing better than Washington, which is surprising, and probably playing more. But they did all right. They did all right. Not saying that the interior of the Giants line is a great foe, but they did all right. They did all right. Let's see. We got it. Before we go to the next one, we got another super chat. V Single 60 says, "Love this format, guys. Hendo keeping it real on PQ. He's not quite a bust. He would never come close to anything." And see, I'm glad you said that. That's what we got to realize. We can't compare PQ to Ray Lewis. There may never be another Ray Lewis. So you can't put PQ even in the same sentence with Ray Lewis. You can't expect him to do the things Ray did. You can't expect him to be the leader that Ray was. You can't expect him to make the plays that Ray was. He is not Ray Lewis. He would never be Ray Lewis. And this coming from a PQ fan. He would never be Ray Lewis. Stop thinking PQ or any middle linebacker that Baltimore is ever going to get for the next 100 years is going to be Ray Lewis. They're not.
100%.
Well, to be fair, you can't really compare him to CJ Mosley either.
I was about to say that. How about
But
that?
I'm saying, but
He's
he
not-
got Ray
how about
Lewis. He got Ray Lewis in his. That's why I said Ray Lewis.
Yeah, I know, but
Listen,
he's just not very good. So.
And listen. I need everyone to stop this nonsense. I don't know why you would say Patrick Queen and Ray Lewis in the same sentence at any time. Rookie season, second year, third year.
Hendo, you made a promise that you were going to be nice.
But I mean, this comment kind of turned that because I see a lot of people comparing Queen to Ray or saying he ain't Ray or Ray would have did this and Ray was a unicorn.
No, Ray missed tackles too. Let's not do that.
But you know what, Coach?
Oh my God! Come on, Hendo, not Ray.
but this is my whole reason why I say defund the defense. We say defund the defense. Stop trying to build that 2000s defense. We're never going to get another Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Haloti Ngata, and Terrell Suggs at the same time.
Never.
That's never going to happen. So I think we're chasing our tail, trying to get picks and trade for guys and sign guys to try to replicate that. That's not the reality that we live in anymore.
All right, Chin Wu say Hendo got a Pat Queen jersey.
Listen, I was actually going to give Chimbo a shout out because if you listen to that person, they are the most positive Ravens fan in life. There's nothing wrong with this team if you listen to them.
No, but I think that's the issue that happens in this town anyway. Like even with CJ Mosley, he was compared to Ray, right? Mm-hmm. He was expected to be Ray. That's the problem. Whenever we draft a linebacker, you expect him to be Ray. Whenever we draft a safety or sign a safety or whatever, they got to be Ed. It's not going to happen. You got to take these players for what they are, and that's it. Though you're talking about Hall of Fame, once in a lifetime players that you had, and you had both of them on your team at the same time. Seeing that again is far few and beyond. If we are lucky to see it in our lifetime again, then say a prayer for the man upstairs. Other than that, we might not ever see that again. So you got to remember that everybody that comes here, you cannot compare him to those guys. It's career suicide from day one. And to your fandom, if you expecting that person to play like two Hall of Fame players from when they walk in this building.
But to your point, Mike, like you said, CJ Mosley was compared to Ray Lewis, but he carved out his own niche.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
But it was still criticism when he was here.
It was,
but certain things that he didn't do because he wasn't Ray Lewis.
But he was still a very good player.
He was.
That's why people wanted him gone, and they thought Patrick Queen would be an upgrade because they had the criticisms of CJ Mosley. Yeah,
and that's my point. Like, enjoy the player that you got and for who they are, because you're ruining that situation when you comparing them to Hall of Fame players. Let them be who they are. And if they're good players, then they're good players. That will show. But that was the certain criticisms that he went through as well, because it was like, yo, okay, Ed, I mean, you seen Ray make that play that you've never seen anybody else make. So why are you expecting CJ Mosley or PQ to make anything like that?
Right, standing where Ray stood.
Yeah, but
I can stand with Barry Bonds standing. I ain't gonna hit that damn home run.
Who stood where Ray stood before he got here? When we were Cleveland Browns, who stood there?
Nobody.
Exactly. So it's like
it's empty.
I mean, it's
like Charlotte with live music. They didn't have middle linebackers when they were the Browns.
Oh, that's right. That's what Dave Tepper said about Charlotte before he got there. There's no live music in Charlotte.
Yeah.
He brought that to Charlotte.
So we just roll on through with linebackers. So bring the outside linebackers in also. Owe is still MIA.
False.
JPP, I think, was after giving that great effort the first 2 weeks, I think reality kind of hit him, and he just like he was tired. He played hard, but like he was tired. They used Malik. Malik had a interesting game to me. I like Malik. Played well. Malik played well. I didn't call Queen's name, so I don't know how good or bad he played, but I don't remember nothing glaring he did, positive or negative. And Bynes was, old Uncle Bynes. Nothing good or nothing bad about it. It's just play in certain situations. B, we'll start with you, B.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were, pretty. I'll say above average, I guess. Like you said, Owe, I didn't see him. I don't remember seeing him at any point during the game. Patrick Queen had a sack. He had a forced fumble. And they are part of that D-line group that. I mean, not part of the D-line group, but they're part of that holding Saquon, right? They are, that all comes together. So I mean, I thought they were pretty good.
Mikey?
Yeah, I agree with B. I mean, PQ, I think he played well. Harrison played well too. Like I said on the show before, he scares me every time I see him drop back in coverage at all. But he's definitely a thumper, and he definitely had a solid game. Same thing everybody's saying. JPP, I think he just ran out of gas, man. You gotta salute him for how he came in here and played the first 2 weeks off of a handful of practices and no off-season workouts or nothing like that. But solid, man. I think this is the PQ that we want, right? Something steady, just stay within who you are. Make a few plays, and he's done that the last few weeks. But yeah, overall, linebackers played well.
Jose?
I'm gonna give him a D, man. They get a D. Like, yes, PQ and Malik Harrison. No, I don't have anything bad to say. I think they did well. I think Patrick Queen had the sack in the game, didn't he?
He
did.
Daniel Jones ran right at him.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Sack.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. Okay.
And the stat sheet probably say a sack fumble.
Hey.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. No, I think they did well for the most part. Everybody else, Owe, non-existent. JPP, right? Look, this is what happens when you get those old veterans. They'll have 1 or 2 games in them, and then that's it, right? They need to rest their bodies for the rest of the time. I saw Owe. I saw him get that 15-yard penalty. Right?
Oh, that's.
I saw that personal foul that he got us. I saw AJ Klein get us a personal foul. Right? Hitting the runner late out of bounds. Right? So I mean, continuing the theme of boneheaded plays from everybody.
So is he really on our team, or is he playing for the Giants? Because he sure helped them out.
What was the I do remember the Owe call, but what was the call again? I forgot.
Personal foul. I don't know why. I know
something
he had a helmet
happened
in his hand
after the play. Yeah,
and he dropped the helmet and he kicked it. He dropped the helmet and he kicked it.
Oh, okay.
The only reason I was able to see it because I had my regular stream up that was like 4 plays behind, and then I had my NFL Europe up that was like maybe 1 play behind. And so when it happened, I was able to look to my left and see he had the helmet in his hand. He drops it, and then when he drops it, he kicks it too.
I did see that. He did.
I don't know if they
he did
called it
have that.
on the kick, but
Yeah,
I don't know
did
what
see
happened beforehand because, like somebody said, they didn't show the replay.
Yeah. Overall, look, they did a solid job stopping the run, just like the D line. But just like the D line, when the Giants really needed to run the ball to score, then there's very little resistance. So, look, I'm giving them a D.
All right, Endo.
Cool. I was all prepared. I had a little speech in my head. I was actually going to give them an A minus, but Jose, you know, he brought he
said he opened the door for me to walk through, so I'm gonna go ahead and walk through
it. So you know, but listen, Patrick Queen, I think the best thing for me is after he got that sack fumble, I didn't hear from him. So I think that was best for me because it's no negative plays. He's out there doing his job. He's not getting called for anything. I really like Malik Harrison. I like the fact that he was active. He was out there. This is what I've been waiting for because I'm a Malik Harrison fan. And I just think that with a lot of Ravens fans, that him guarding Travis Kelce left a bad taste in everybody's mouth because he's actually a better cover linebacker than Patrick Queen. A lot of people don't really know that, even though he is a thumper. I'm just waiting for big things for him. Jason Pierre-Paul, listen, as an older fella, you know that sometimes when you're working out or you're doing something physical, it don't hit you right then and there. It hits you later on. And I think that it's starting to hit Jason now, like, oh, snap, I'm back in the game. He gave everything that he had. It just wasn't a lot, but they all played hard. But like Jose said, when it came time for them to stop the run, they couldn't do it. And it could have been worse because Saquon really could have just ran that touchdown in. He didn't have to stop. He could have put him up. He could have put him up by 11, and it the stat sheet would have looked even worse. But I mean, for the most part, outside of that, I think that they played very well, except for Owe and that stupid penalty. I'm sorry, Yolanda. I couldn't.
Wow.
I tried.
What do you mean you tried? You were done. All you had to do was click mute.
He walked out and said one more thing. Chris.
Yeah, I thought the inside linebackers played well yesterday. The outside guys, I mean, I can't even fault JPP. You know, they got him playing like 100% of the snaps after sitting on the couch for months. So what do you expect? It's the same thing with Justin Houston. Like he was playing well, but they're playing him way too many snaps because they have to. And like, what do you expect? Like the same thing's going to happen. And if you keep trotting out JPP, they're playing more snaps than Owe. What's going to happen to JPP?
72% to 57%.
The same thing that happened to Justin Houston.
Well, so I mean, that's why they went and got their new edge rusher today, right?
Yeah, Kennard. I think he hasn't had a sack in like 2 years.
Fit right in.
So yeah, man. Hopefully Tyus could come back soon, man. Because they need him. They need him badly.
Yeah. If they get Tyus and Houston back with a JPP, I think they'll be a solid rotation, right? JPP and Houston won't be counted on as much, but it's a tall task to ask, man. You know, they are older guys, you know, and then Tyus is coming off an injury. I think we all forgetting that when we're waiting on him to come back, but he's coming off a serious injury. So, you know, how many games is it going to take him to? Is he even going to look like himself? You know, will he look like himself at all this year? Will it take him some time to get back to that form? So we got to keep that in mind as well.
How old is Tyus? Is he pushing 30 yet?
No. Oh no.
So he still got some years left.
I would give him 20. I would give him 27.
He's 27.
Okay. Yeah. Chris, did you go? Linebacker?
Yeah, I just went. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, I think it's just me.
Yeah, it's just you.
I agree with everybody. They played well. They played well enough to win. They shut down. I ain't gonna say shut down. They contained one of the most explosive players in the league. They contained Saquon Barkley, and I think they played well enough to win. But the bonehead penalties, any penalty that's not an effort penalty, is it got to be taken out. Effort penalties, holding, face mask, something that's going on in the play. You as a coach, you live with them. But them pre-snaps and then after the whistle stuff, that stuff got to be out of there, man. That's why you're a 3-3 team right there. You are what your record says you are. That's why you're a 3-3 team. Now let's bounce to the DBs. Let's go DBs overall. And I'll start with Jose.
They get a C minus. Look, man, you're defending. I mean, you're defending Wan'Dale Robinson is their top wide receiver, right? You know, like Darius Slayton. Like, you're supposed to shut them down, but again, when they needed to move the ball, there's very little resistance. Man, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, do I have to say it? Right?
Yes, please do.
I mean, he is not off to a good start. He's not off to a good start. I saw that one play where he slipped or whatever. He got juked, whatever, and gave up a big chunk there. There was a play where we had him on 4th down. There was a penalty, and Harbaugh decided, well, let's take the penalty and push him back. I think that was a mistake, and it ended up being a mistake because it was 3rd and long, and we skipped the 1st down.
But I got a question about that. So you rather have 4th and 1 versus 3rd and 14?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 4th down, right? And that team is playing just as conservative as we are. Who knows if they're even going to try to go for it?
I'm honest with you in that situation. I'm with Harbs on that one.
Me too, because my thing is we got the #1 pass defense in the league. We should
Okay,
be able
I'm not with Harbs on that one. I'm not with Harbs on that one.
We should be able.
I walk right into that. I walk my dumb self right into it. Following
we should be able to stop dumbbell high wide receivers from getting 14 yards on a 3rd and 14.
Hey, it depends. You could be able to stop Dumbo highlight.
It depends on what. Right. It depends.
I didn't realize he said that.
It depends on what Dumbo wide receiver you talking about now.
Not Tavon. Right. Not Tavon.
They put some ballers out. No, obviously they didn't play bad, and that penalty at the end, I didn't like the call. Honestly, I didn't think there was enough there for a flag. It looked like the wide receiver was running the wrong route, and Peters had the interception. But yeah, they get a C. You're supposed to shut them down. I don't think I think they could have done a lot better. They should have done a lot better for the caliber of players we have on that side of the ball versus what they had on their side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Just like their DBs were locking our receivers up, we should have been locking theirs down.
Yes.
Handily. Hendo?
Yeah, like Jose said. Listen, I'm gonna give him an F.
Wow.
I'm gonna give him an F. Listen, you have I'm sorry. All right, D+.
Jeez.
I will say this: the leading receiver had 38 yards.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You listen. When we first did this show, and you tried to trick us about what the ranking we wanted with the cornerbacks, what the secondary was, and it wasn't about yards. We were talking about points. Okay, how many yards they did or did not give up. You're playing against Daniel Jones, one of the bottom quarterbacks in the league, with his top 2 or 3 wide receivers hurt. Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson. It's pretty much all you have to worry about. We have a $43 million secondary, and you're telling me on a 3rd and 14, you give up a 16-yard pass? Like, when we need you to earn your money, you don't do it. Now, all the filler and fluff that you do throughout the rest of the game, and it looks good. Daniel Jones had 170 yards passing. That's fine. But just like we did with Queen, it's about when you make the plays, not the plays that you actually make. It's about the importance of them and at the time that they come.
And that 3rd and 14 was very important.
It was a killer.
Yeah.
Mike?
I'm not as hard on as my man Hendo, but I am really, really disappointed. I mean, to all the points that you guys said, Wan'Dale, whatever his name is, rookie
Robinson.
receiver, I think he is.
You don't even know the name.
Yeah, I
you know his name. Don't do that.
I mean, I'm watching the game and I'm like, what? Like, come on, man. Like, and it seemed like this is the thing that confused me about it. And I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but it seemed like they had so this was their top 2 wide receivers, right? Wan'Dale and Slayton. Who
that game?
That game it was Bellinger.
Well, and that was my other point. But as far as wideouts, like, it seemed like Pepe was on Wan'Dale most of the game, and he was getting I put in the Discord like, look, my man Pepe is catching it right now. So why we didn't have Marlo or MP on Wandell to take him out of the game, I wasn't sure. And that maybe I missed that, or maybe I'm misquoting that situation. But I seen Pepe on him, especially down the stretch, and Pepe was getting eaten alive by the young guy. Now, to Daniel Bellinger, I guess I didn't. So this, I was gonna put it on the linebackers, but I saved it for the safeties. But Bellinger was averaging 11, 12 a pop, and he caught a touchdown. Again, we can't let these type of guys kill us when that's all they have. You know what I mean? No name guys, no disrespect, right? I know my man Ferris is in here. He's a Giants fan. No disrespect. But for the grand scheme of things, these are no name guys that we should have. This is what allowed us to put 8 in the box.
Yep.
Because we weren't afraid of who they put out there on the outside. So to let them beat you in any kind of way is a huge issue for me, especially when, as my man Hendo like to say, you got a $43 million secondary out there. So I'm disappointed in how they played that game, especially with Wandell and my man and them out there doing their thing.
Hey, Coach, can I retract my statement? I take it back. I give them a C-. I take it back because listening to Mike speak, it made me think about something. And I said this all yesterday and today. Coaching means a lot. And even though their wide receivers aren't the best, Brian Dable schemed them open because he did such a good job with it. Our secondary was once again having communication problems. You could see them arguing with each other like, no, you were supposed to go here and go there. That has something to do with coaching. And I think that he knew that without his top wide receivers, he needed the game plan around it. So I don't put this all on the secondary. I think Mike McDonald's in over his head, but we'll get to that later.
Chris?
Yeah, the final stats, that's all cool. All of that is cool, but when you can't do it in crunch time, I mean, what does it really matter? If you're allowing them to get the big third down plays. So
exactly,
all of those final stats, they're cute and all, but you got to do it in crunch time, and this team hasn't done it in crunch time, for quite some time this season. So it's all fine and dandy, but you gotta live up to that for 4 quarters, not just the first 3 quarters. That has to be consistent throughout. And like you said, we can understand it if it's a Jamar Chase, if it's a T. Higgins, if it's a Tyreek, if it's a Waddle. Come on, these dudes are not even his first NFL game. This is his first NFL game.
Slayton was benched for a while, wasn't he?
He was. This is his first game. He was a healthy scratch, I think, the last 2 games, and they brought him back because everybody else was hurt. And then I'm sorry, but when they said Wandale, I was like, "Is Boys the Men playing?" Like Wandale.
Wandale.
Hey, we got a cash app.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Cash app. There we go. The super duper chat.
Brandon says he said 7. He said for Ravens Legion of Doom or Super Friends podcast with question mark behind it. So I guess he's trying to name the podcast. I do like the Legion of Doom though, because when Seattle had them boys, that was a sight to see. But I want to get on that trip. B.
Yeah, man. I thought they played pretty well. I mean, like I feel like I can't believe I'm about to be the positive one on the defense, especially.
That's crazy.
I mean, we're sitting here. Granted, you don't want to give up a 3rd and 14. Whatever. I mean, the way you play defense in the NFL today, you're going to give up yards. You're going to give up some points. The fact is, if they hadn't turned the ball over, they hold them under 20, right?
Yeah.
And in that situation, okay, you'd like to see them maybe hold them to a field goal, but I mean that's a lot to ask considering the position they're put in. And if I'm looking at this defense, I'm saying, hey, for the most part, they bottled up Saquon. They gave him 170 yards passing, and they kind of held him to 17 points outside of giving up the touchdown off of the turnover. I can't really ask for more than that. I know that they put a lot of resources into the defense, and if you want to kind of judge on the on that basis, then you want more. But realistically, you can't expect those kind of performances week in and week out in the NFL, regardless of who you're playing. The worst teams can move the ball and put up points because that's just the way the NFL wants it. Again, this is kind of the reverse situation that we normally talk about, where we're kind of blaming the defense right now because the offense that you built couldn't do anything.
Right.
If the offense has any kind of talent on it, Baltimore's going up and down the field, scoring at will, and none of this is, we're not talking about the secondary at all. We're not talking about a 3rd and 14. It's just that Baltimore is a poorly built team, and they put themselves in positions against, look, I know the Giants are 5-1, but inferior teams, and that they shouldn't be in. They shouldn't have been in a position like this against the New York Giants. The New York Giants don't have talent like that, but Baltimore puts themselves in those kind of positions. So, I thought the defense, the secondary and the defense as a whole played pretty well.
Did I hit everybody?
Yeah.
All right, me. It's tough again to play that well and then in the clutch moments fail, because it throws out everything that you've done previous. And I wasn't a big component of that until like you guys made me realize that stuff about Hendo. Not about Hendo. Well,
Wow.
We warned you about Hendo.
No.
We told you.
No. I was saying when he made me realize that when we were talking about Pat Queen, about it's when you make the plays, or whoever said it.
Right.
So I'm kind of putting that on everybody now. That frame's going to apply to everybody. You can do great things through 3 quarters, because if we play 3 quarters, we undefeated. But that 4th quarter, you got to show up. But the reason I left that comment up there, Laquan Lawrence says, I said during the game, why can't our defense can't keep giving up 2 scores in 2-score games? I don't think that's all defense. I think a part of that is the offense finishing games too. Like we got the ball with 6 minutes left. Mm-hmm. And I was saying during my live stream, they don't have to touch the ball again. We could win by 3. And we were well on our way to doing that. But Ronnie or whoever the penalty was on, some say it was a card, that killed that right there. So the offense plays a part in helping the defense out too, because if I'm more offense, the more opportunities you give me, I'm going to find a way. If I had a defense that could turn people over constantly, I'm going to find a way to get you at some point. And that's what's happening to us in them late in the games. The offense not having a sustained drive, and the other team's offense is getting more chances and getting more shots to pick holes in our defense. Then they finding where their mismatches are, and they starting to win them in the 4th quarter, and we can't stop that snowball once it starts. So, it ain't just a defense.
Turnovers.
Huh?
Our defense also isn't getting turnovers.
Yeah, they got turnovers, the first 4 games?
Yeah.
I don't think they got any.
I think so. Yeah. Last week. I'm sorry. Go ahead, B. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Lamar throws an interception. Patrick Queen gets an interception right back. He gets the ball right back for him. That's what we need from this defense, because that's how this team is constructed. We put our investment in the defense. So obviously Lamar is only working with so much, right? So if he makes a mistake, it's on the defense to get the ball back. We're up 10 points with 12 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Okay, we need a little bit more from the offense. But that team that we're playing, our defense needs to be able to shut them out. Like that's what we paid that extra for. And if we're not going to ask our defense to do stuff like that, it doesn't have to be every game, but when we need them to do it like that, if they can't do that, defund the defense. Take that money out of them and put it in the offense. Put it around the person that you're expecting to win the game, which is Lamar Jackson.
Well, and this is what we always talk about, right? And Ravens fans ask a lot, why can't the defense shut the door when you have a multi-score lead, right? And it's because it's not the reality of the NFL now. If you want to close the door, that you have to put that on the offense, and you have to give them the talent to do it. Coach, what was the saying? It's foot on necks.
Foot
Like,
on that, yep.
you got a 2-score game. Go out there and get you a Jamar Chase and make it a 3-score game.
Yep.
You know?
How about that?
Go out and get you. I mean, not this guy, but a DJ Moore type, and make it a 4-score game. Right? Don't give the other team the opportunity to come back. You can't realistically expect your defense to just hold the lead for an entire half.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. It's the NFL is flipped. If you want to run, if you want to milk the clock, that's the way to do it. You can't just say, "Hey, can me be up by 3 and keep running my defense out there to stop them." Them days over with.
Yeah, and shout out to Lenny Beeson, because Lenny said, "Imagine if we had a $43 million wide receiving core instead of a $43 million secondary. Imagine what this team would be like then."
Yeah, I missed that one, but
Lamar
didn't think about that
signed.
Lamar probably would have 40 touchdowns already.
But I mean, even Lamar said it right in his post game that we got to score points when we get down in the red zone. He realizes that you can't put that on the back of the defense. You got to keep scoring, and you got to, just as much as we got to, we need the defense to take some pressure off of Lamar when he make those mistakes. When Lamar get a chance to make it back up to them, he got to do it. The offense has to do it. We got to put more points on the board, especially when we get down in the red zone. We had plenty of opportunities to do it. A lot of bonehead mistakes, like you already pointed out. It's just not. The formula just isn't working in the second half. I'm sure we're gonna get the coaching. I don't know if it's because of the lack of adjustments, or we just getting out coached in the second half of games. But I mean, it didn't happen about 4 or 5 weeks. So something is.
You said you sure we gonna get the coaching? That what you said, Mike?
Yeah, I know we're gonna talk about these coaching in here.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant we sure that the players are going to get coached up. That's what. Okay.
Oh, no. Nobody believes that.
We ain't never had.
So Garnett put something up here, and I need y'all to fact check. He said, "I repeat, 7 points in the second half this whole season." Somebody please fact check that
for the offense.
I guess because I know we got 3 from Tucker, the game winner. So we at least got that. Before we get to coaching, I'm gonna read Marco's super chat. He said, "Bengals closed out the Saints up 5. Steelers with an injured defense closed out Brady up 2. Bills closed out Chiefs up 4. That's coaching. Salute." Mm-hmm. And speaking of, that's the topic at hand. Coaching and GM. That's where we at. Coaching and GM. Who wants to go first? Go ahead, B.
No, my DoorDash is here. I got to get out. So, obviously the big one is going away from Kenyon Drake for absolutely no reason. That's why I said the coaching staff are frauds. They talk defense and run the ball, but when the chips are down, they don't believe that. They always go away from the run game, no matter what, and they go away from it early, whether it's working, not working, whatever. They look at if it's a big game and an important game and it's not going exactly the way they want, that run game is gone. And also, we had the big debate after the about whether or not to take the field goal versus going for the touchdown, right? And that right there tells you they don't believe in the defense. Because if you believe in the defense, you kick the field goal and you say, my defense is going to stop them, but they know they're not going to. So, I mean, they say, hey, we're building for one thing, but they're not. In terms of GMing, I mean, what's it been? Devin Duvernay, Josh Oliver on the offense, JPP, Calais Campbell, Justin Houston, Josh Bynes. And this is just a list of guys that you all are saying want to do it, but their bodies can't. So why are they on the team?
Right.
Like, why are any of those guys on the team?
They're cheap.
Right. They're cheap, and the front office in Baltimore is lazy and they're complacent. They don't want to go out and actually find better players. And if a better player comes knocking on their door, like, hey, Juju came in, Bobby Wagner came in, they don't want to pay him. Right. So, I mean, it's a team that's they're built to lean on Lamar, win as many games as they can in the regular season, hopefully get to the playoffs, get embarrassed there, keep all on the hook for another season. That's what they're built for.
It's a never-ending cliffhanger. That's what we in. A never-ending cliffhanger. Hendo, go ahead.
So what we doing? Just coaching the GM?
Both.
Okay. I mean, we need to have a whole new segment just on this topic alone, because I feel like, listen, Greg Roman, I was starting to give him credit for making certain adjustments during games because there are times when he has done better. But I think that once that defensive coordinator makes his adjustment, Roman doesn't have that second adjustment. He's like, what do you want me to do? I pivoted once. I can't do it again. I fault John Harbaugh for this because he takes his foot off of the neck of his offensive and defensive coordinators. Like he's
Is it
the
ever
head.
on there?
You know it wasn't. I try to make him look good for the Harbaugh supporters, but just as a head coach, he has not been good. Not once since he's been here. Like he said his little thing, and Ed Reed was like, "We told him go ahead, sit down and chill. Like, don't come around here with this nonsense." John Harbaugh came into a great culture. Like the Ravens culture was great. He benefited from the players, the system, and everything that we had. Then he decided to take it his own way, bring in the Boy Scouts, take out the players that actually play like Ravens, and he's misguided this team. He brings in the same people to run the same system to get the same results. And I even think that good old boy Marlowe is getting sick of it because he put out that cryptic tweet today saying, insanity, doing the same thing, over expecting different results. And everybody's like, what is it about? You know what it's about. Right. We keep doing the same thing. We keep losing the same way. And as far as the GM is concerned, Eric DeCosta has not brought in one player in about 40 something picks that have made a significant difference to this squad. He traded for Marcus Peters, credit. He traded for Calais Campbell, credit. But aside from that, what has he done? Jordan Stout, I know that's your man and all. I don't mean to pick on him, but what has he done for this team? What has David Ajabo done for this team? Like we're a team that talks about we need to get away from injuries, but we draft injured players.
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense. I keep saying that this organization is not about winning. This organization is about staying relevant enough to make enough money, to stay profitable in their pockets. They don't care about winning. How can you say the Baltimore Ravens, the front office, the coaching staff cares about this team winning when you have Devin Duvernay and Tylan Wallace as your number 1 and 2 wide receivers to go with a former unanimous MVP quarterback that you know can lead your team to a Super Bowl, but you surround him with a bunch of hot garbage and say, no, we picked up this defensive talent and they're going to carry Lamar over the top. How? Because they haven't been doing it. And I guarantee you, with all that we're saying today, all that we'll say tomorrow, when it comes draft time, we're going to draft a cornerback in the first round and pick up some more defensive players in free agency and be in the same boat next year without Lamar Jackson.
Woo.
Wow.
That boy mic drop.
I'm sorry.
Everybody want to follow that?
Yeah. Harbaugh is Mike McCarthy. Okay. He's Mike McCarthy. I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. He's Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy might be a little bit better if we're being honest. All right. Look, they get an F. Everybody gets an F. Like, that team was not prepared. Everybody is the same theme, no matter what position that we broke down. It was, yeah, they played well at parts, but then they had this bonehead mistake. And every group had some mistakes that really cost us in this game. Every group, that is not a, oh, well, players need to step up, right? Because that's what we like to say, like, oh, well, at some point the players got to step up. Man, listen, they all doing bad. That is coaching. That is something that B has been saying from before we even started a podcast, that Harbaugh does not get his team prepared for games. This dates back way before Lamar got here. This is when Flacco was here. We were doing these things. In fact, when we went to the Super Bowl, we were 10-6. We weren't a good team. We barely made the playoffs, and we looked even worse than what we're looking at right now. Right, the famous mutiny. You guys remember the mutiny they had in the locker room?
Yep.
That was after a blowout to the Houston Texans. Okay,
a blowout loss.
Yeah, blowout loss. I'm sorry, a blowout loss. We did not win that game. We looked awful. We had an offensive coordinator, Cam Cameron. I know most of you don't know who that is. He used to coach in the NFL. He got fired after we lost to the Redskins. Right? It was the Redskins, right? It was the Redskins. We lost.
Yes, RG3 got hurt, and Kirk Cousins came in and beat us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
As a rookie.
That's the game where Nada hit RG3 and his leg basically went over his head.
Yeah. Yep. So this has always been his MO, right? When we have to play teams like this, man, it's a coin flip whether we win this game. If we gotta play a team like the Bills, all hands on deck, right? We'll get close, and This year is we're giving up big leads, but the better the competition looks, the more prepared he's going to try to have this team. The problem is the other half of the equation, the GM, and EDC is not a good GM. And I'm somebody who's been trying to hold off on evaluating EDC. I've been trying to give him his chance because I thought that following Ozzy and working with Ozzy so closely for so many years, it would be a natural transition to him, and I thought he would, continue the success. But he's been awful. He hasn't brought any real help to this team. In fact, he's downgraded what Ozzy left him. Ozzy left him with that 2019 team. That had nothing to do with EDC. That was Ozzy. Ozzy brought Lamar Jackson here. Ozzy brought Mark Andrews here. Everybody that you like, that's a Ozzy pick. Okay. Marcus Peters is the only one that he traded for, and that's great. I don't even think he's going to bring Marcus Peters back if we're being honest. Right. So
and that was going cheap too because it was going to be Jalen Ramsey.
It should have been Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah.
And we didn't get Xavier Howard either. We're talking to get Xavier Howard. We didn't bring him in either. So they're being cheap all around. This isn't just about offense, right? The defense as well. Like I didn't see us in bidding for Khalil Mack, right? The Chargers are playing right now. He was available. How come we didn't trade for Khalil Mack if we about defense? Right. If we need edge rushers, right? Why didn't we pay Zadarius Smith what he wanted? Right? Like we're always missing out on guys that can make a difference. And they keep saying right player, right price. No, you just want to be cheap. Yeah. And when you're cheap, you don't get extra points for saving money when the season starts. You just get a worse player. And we got a team full of worse players. And that is on EDC.
Yeah. Mikey, you been yet?
Nah, y'all brothers mic dropping. Look, I'm gonna say this, right? Coaching is what it is, right? We already know what it is. We have issues there, clearly. But call me what you want. Some of y'all gonna call me a defender. But all of my frustration is in the front office. If we're gonna talk about the lack of talent on this team, we can only hold that on the coaches, but so much. Coach, you're a coach. If you ain't got the players, you got the scheme and you got the idea, and you could coach up the players. But if it at the end of the day, sometimes it comes down to talent. And if
Jimmy's
you ain't got it,
over X's and O's.
Exactly. If you ain't got it, you can't coach it up, but so much. So I'm gonna leave Harbs out on this one. I'm about to attack EDC.
Get it.
Get him.
A great philosopher once said, if they want you to cook the dinner, they gotta at least let me buy some of the groceries. So if they listen, Harbs is doing what he's cooking with what he got, the scraps that he got. You know what I'm saying? McDonald is he's using the scraps he got. We cannot in the inboxes, in the chats, we cannot keep talking about what we don't have and then blaming the coaches. That's my thing.
I don't think McDonald got the scraps. McDonald got Ruth Chris.
Yeah.
now Giro got the scraps.
Giro got the scraps. But
can I say something, Mike?
Yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I don't know if y'all noticed, but Harbaugh makes a lot of those draft picks. So he does choose some of the groceries that he has. And
I don't think he does.
I don't think he do either.
I'll tell you what. Aaron DeCosta ain't draft Ben Mason. I know that.
Thank you very much.
I'll say
or
this.
Ben Bredesen.
Thank you.
I'll say this. I do think he says it influences some of it by that that whole Michigan connection thing or whatever they got going on. You know, that's something else. But that's on EDC to block that. It ain't worked.
He knows
it ain't worked in however long. I'm not drafting Ben Mason. I'm not. We don't need to.
But EDC is in an unenviable position, unlike some GMs. Harbaugh has a little bit more power than EDC has in this situation. That's why we have this conflict. Yeah. But even to what you're saying, Brian Dable must be an executive chef because he has scraps. He has scraps over there in New York. But look at what he's doing with it. So you have to give Harbaugh a better coach. But that's to my point. So you have to give Harbaugh some credit for the demise of this team.
No, I mean, I think if you put Dable with that Ferrari we talk about,
What's gonna happen, Mike?
it's going to be
We 6-0.
something we never seen. I think Dable just has the ability, like Jose just said. He's a better coach. I think he has the ability to adjust when he needs to and get the best out of what he has, right? But it's going eventually is going to hit the wall for him, right? Because you're going to run up against a team where they just better than you. We should have been that team, right? We had that game in the bag. We should have been that team. We went into this game favored. That tells you the odds makers don't believe in this team and what he's doing right now. He's making chicken out of you know what. Dable. That's what Dable is doing. But it's been years, right? We talking about 2019 when Ozzy left what we got here, right? The best things that we got here, that's Ozzy's. Since then, we haven't gotten anything. And that, to me, is on the GM. 100%. He's got and when it comes down to trading, if you want to just focus on not the draft picks, let's do the trading and being aggressive in free agency. EDC is not doing that. So it's going to catch up to us. The lack of talent is going to catch up to us, and that is exactly what's happening. He came out and said, you know what? I believe in the wide receiving group that we got. We're going to go with that group. He said it.
What else is he supposed to say?
That you know what? We're gonna make some moves. We looking, we turning over all stones. We're gonna be aggressive. We're gonna do what we gotta do to give Lamar what he needs. That's what he should have said.
He should have, but how can he say that when your head coach is sitting up there like, I don't care who comes here. You ain't gotta come to my squad. We don't need you.
Hey, listen, I hear you.
He did it before. He did it before when he said, yeah, no, we don't need to draft any wide receivers like the wide receivers we had. EDC said, no, we're drafting wide receivers. We need to get young. Like I think EDC has more pull.
He does.
Yeah, well, like so like the thing that the reason I don't agree with Harbaugh got more power in the front office is because Ozzy is still in the building and nobody has more power than Ozzy, right? That is Ozzy's right hand man, and if it's ever EDC versus Harbaugh, Ozzy will always be there to. So
it's probably still.
But who does Bashadi side with though? That's more important. Because Bashadi should have sat back and said, listen, this team has been lame duck for years, and this is on Harbaugh.
If Ozzy worked for you and he brought you 2 Super Bowls, I mean, who you gonna believe? Right. Ozzy comes in your room and says, hey man, trust me. Yeah,
that's why he's still in the building. And EDC was supposed to scouts. Let's not forget that EDC was supposed to get the Jets job. And it was teamed in Cleveland. Cleveland tried to poach him out of here years ago. Yeah, but he stayed because he was the GM in waiting. Yeah. Right. So I think he's gotten a pass for a good amount of time, and it has run out for me personally.
Me too. All of us.
I just think he's not making enough moves. And if we're gonna be honest, right? Again, this ain't gonna ride with a lot of people. But Ozzy's drafts up until that 2019 hasn't been great. We haven't had a really good draft. We haven't had a really good draft in a long time. We got Lamar out of that. Jose will tell you. When we took Hayden Hurst, I called him and I said, I'm done. I am done with this team. And then when they said they moved back in the first round, I said, yo, if this isn't Lamar Jackson, I am that they can get me back with Lamar Jackson. Right. And they did it. And then they ended up finding Mark Andrews out of that draft. Solid, right? We got 2 people, 2 Pro Bowlers, great. But we haven't had a good draft in a long time. And if he's still listening to my man, if we still listening to Ozzy, that's a problem too. That's a problem.
You got to stand on your own at some point.
Yeah, if you running the show, then you
then run it.
He knows he
that's
can.
all I'm saying.
He knows he can. That's why we got the picks we got.
Chris.
So I want to go straight to the GM and roster construction, because for me, when you got Lamar, right, it starts with protecting Lamar. So you got to make sure the O-line is straight. Once the O-line is straight, then you put weapons around him. I know a lot of people say, oh, but they have Mark Andrews. He's their number 1 weapon. That's fine, but why do we want to stop there? Like, well, why are we so against? Well, not we, but why are so many people against adding more talent to the talent that we have. You know, like look at the Bengals. Did the Bengals say, "Oh, we got T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. We don't need to draft Jamar Chase"? No, they made a strength even stronger. And I just feel like why are you going to put a governor on the amount of talent that you want to add on the roster? It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's something that it's a word that Kerry Stevenson, shout out to Kerry, he calls it gravity players. You want players on the offense that can have a gravitational pull for the defense.
Mm-hmm.
And other than Lamar and Andrews, they don't have that. Now, those players are difficult to get, but you're not going to get them if you don't take those swings.
Yep.
Now, if you like Garrett Williams and you're picking at 14 and you got ammo to move up, if you really believe in Garrett Williams, you got to move up and get that guy. You cannot sit back and just say, if he drops to us, cool. If you really like him, you got to move up and be aggressive. Look at the Eagles. Eagles have been aggressive.
Yep.
Look,
and it's paying off.
It's paying off. I mean, and that's what you do to help your quarterback. That's what you do. Yeah, Lamar could win with this roster that he has. You know, yeah, he could go to the playoffs with this team that he has. But why make it more difficult? Why don't you make it easier for your quarterback? It should be making it easier. Look at Josh Allen. Look at Josh Allen before he had Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Gabriel Davis since they've gotten Diggs.
Right. It's gravitational players where they make everything easier for everyone else. And I feel like that's something that has to change going forward. Like that has to change because, I mean, they pretty much ran out of dudes who they could trade for. You know, all of the young guys been locked up to long-term deals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, what is the next lever that they could push? Everybody was like, oh, Terry McLaurin got signed. You know, and these dudes the dominoes just keep falling. And they're just there standing, you know, with their hands in their pants like, damn, what are we going to do? Now we go into this draft. Let's just say they make the playoffs. They have a pick in the 20s. What wide receiver are you going to get in the 20s? When we just saw this
wide receiver.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
When we just saw this past draft where they couldn't even get one of those, you know, different makers at 14.
But I will say this. There were two difference makers that I raved about that were there.
I know who you're talking about.
One, obviously Pickens. And now Thornton's healthy in New England and has scored a couple touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
There was two guys that was big on my radar. Both of them.
And that's the thing. My bad.
No,
so that's the thing too. Like that's what gets on my nerves is that you see a George Pickens is there, right? And you take the off the field stuff and the injury stuff away, and he's up there with the top wide receivers last year.
He is the top wide receiver to me.
And you can get that at a discounted value in the second round. And you decide not to. And I tweeted this earlier. It's no slight on David Ojabo. It's no slight on him at all. But you make that pick. I feel like you can get by with an average outside linebacker. You cannot get by with a below average wide receiver core when you have a young quarterback that you're trying to help. Wide receiver room you're trying to build.
Yep.
And to me, that's what it should be. It should be a building around Lamar. And I just feel like they haven't taken that, you know, really serious as far as the wide receiver is concerned, because it's a devalued position for them.
Look at the Steelers wide receiver room. They starting Lil Hand Man now. But look at what Lil Hand Man got to throw to.
baby hands.
he got Pickens to throw to. He got Claypool who went nuts yesterday. Deontay Johnson.
Calvin Austin.
Forget just them three. What if Lamar had two of them three? Right. All four of them guys that we just named. The only person that we could even probably put in the same sentence with them is Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd at least be the third guy. At least.
But what upsets me about the George Pickens thing is not only could he be the top receiver out that class or one of the best, it's that he likes to block. Yes. You are a running team, and you have a physical wide receiver that likes to block. Not that he can block. He wants to block. You can see it in his face. He likes pancaking them dudes.
Yep.
And we say, you know what? I don't like his attitude off the field. So we don't even put him on our board. Out of 500 players, he wasn't on our board.
But they're not a running team though, Endo. I mean, Kenyon Drake had 10 carries, right? They're not an anything team, and that's their problem.
We don't have an identity.
They're a Lamar, please save us team. Yeah, that's why anytime he makes a mistake, it's all on Lamar. They don't have any identity. You know, they're not a run team. They're not a pass team. They're not a defense team. They're a John Harbaugh and EDC. I don't want anybody who's going to get too loud and upset my emotions kind of team.
For that reason alone, that's why your boy X'd himself out yesterday, because he questioned the coach on the field. Right then, I knew he was not coming to Baltimore.
He was trying. But I got a question for Raven Ron, because Raven Ron was like missing Pickens' whole 27 yards on Sunday. Hey, Raven Ron, what did our top wide receiver have Sunday? Since you want to be technical.
Also that's it.
27 yards.
Whoa.
And then also that's behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league and probably some of the poorest QB play in the league from the start of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then go look at his numbers in totality.
Right.
His numbers are good for the season, considering what I just said, the O-line being trash, the quarterback play being trash. His numbers are pretty good for all of that to be happening.
And he gets wide open.
Yep.
Yeah, you got a quarterback who is one of the better passers in the league, right? In Lamar Jackson. And a guy who has run for over 1,000 yards a couple times in his career already. You put some actual receivers on that team, and Baltimore's offense will be unstoppable.
Yep.
Right. It's a couple comments I can't help but to see. Fish trainer, Lamar's elite. He's just not better than Brady, Allen, Rodgers, and Patrick. Let's look at what Rodgers is doing right now without no talent around him.
How about that?
I think
Aaron got his ass kicked yesterday.
Ashanti said earlier the same thing. You know, Josh Allen is better. Listen, we haven't seen Lamar with the most talent around him. That he has no talent around. We say that every stream, he has no talent. If you put Lamar with that type of talent, you wouldn't be saying that. I'm positive you wouldn't be saying that. And also, you talked about the draft earlier. Gus Edwards was undrafted. He wasn't a part of that draft.
How about that?
And that draft was not great, by the way.
Right.
But we have not seen our quarterback with the talent, with the top talent. We have not. That's what we complain about all the time. To say he's not, I mean, he's not better than those guys. I think, Jose, you always speak about this. Look at Aaron Rodgers now. You said you've been saying this since the season started. Aaron came into the season complaining about his weapons. Let Lamar do that. Let Lamar come in and say, "Look, man, I ain't these guys suck," because that's what Aaron Rodgers is saying basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
And crying all the time.
He'll tell a coach that he sucks to his face. He's like, that's a stupid call. We lost because of the coach. Like he does that all the time.
It's just listen.
That's a whole different story. Because let Lamar do that, and then also talk about, oh yeah, I was taking shrooms and I was high. Let Lamar do that. They're gonna throw him under the jail.
Yep.
Right. It's just it's not an even playing game when we talking about Lamar versus all these other quarterbacks. He is by far the most talented quarterback there is, as far from a weapon standpoint. There is no bigger weapon on the field than Lamar Jackson. We just don't give him any ammo on the sides of him, and anywhere else, he's the only weapon out there, and that's the problem. That's the problem. But here in Baltimore, we so used to the scraps, man, that we good with that. Oh man, this person is okay.
See, look, what Ashanti put right here. This is what we say all the time on our show. Go watch other games.
Right. It's not true. He got Miko Harmon. He got Juju, and he got the kid from Green Bay,
Valdez Scantling. All better than what we have.
And Sky Moore started to produce.
Yeah.
And I believe they asked, why is he putting up monster numbers and Lamar isn't? Pat Mahomes, 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. When you add in Lamar's rushing, he's got over 1,700 yards. He's got 15 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. with much worse talent around
How
it.
about
It's
you?
not even
There's-
close.
there's
Much
a
worse
garden-
talent, much worse talent, worse
Much worse
O-line, worse coaching.
Oh, by the way, you could say, "Oh, he just has Travis Kelce." Travis Kelce, I would trade everything we have, including Mark Andrews,
For Travis
for
Kelce.
Travis Kelce.
And he
He's
got
a
Andy Reid.
star.
Yeah.
The Ravens are starting DeMarcus Robinson. That's all you
Yeah.
gotta say.
Who could not last in Kansas City?
No, what is it, the fourth receiver in Kansas City?
Fourth
They said,
Exactly.
no, thank you. And then he got cut by the Raiders before the start of the season.
He
Didn't
couldn't
get
beat
to
out.
play a game with them.
He couldn't beat out Byron Pringle.
Old man Deshaun Jackson. Like, I mean,
Right. That's to my
Wide
point.
receivers
Why,
have wanted to play with Lamar.
why EDC? Why this is on EDC? And I can't see John being the one that's saying, "Hey man, call up Deshaun Jackson, who hasn't played in a year, who's 35, to see if he can." come help."
John.
You can tell they watch
No. John
whatever that
coached
show
him.
is.
John coached Deshaun in the Pro Bowl, and that's how John builds relationships. Listen, special teams. He coached him in the Pro Bowl, special teams. John builds relationships like that, so don't put it past him.
So you think John said EDC? Let's check. Let's see what Deshaun is doing.
I think somebody to build. I don't know. Listen, I'm not trying to absolve EDC from anything. I think he's horrible in the bum, but I think that Harbaugh needs some of this credit too. I think it should be like a 60-40 type deal. 65-35.
Listen,
Juju had 1,400 yards in his second year, and then he came back when he was an outside receiver. Then he came back and he led the league in catches and touchdowns from the slot. So no, he's not. It's not that he's not talented.
Right.
Who wanted Andy Isabella? I'm curious.
Right.
I missed that.
Hey, look,
man.
I will say this, and I saw this funny today. That damn Nitro. When he
Shout out to Nitro.
his little thing about saying D-Jack, you mean D-Jack, the dude that was good when Mike Vick played?
Yeah.
Right.
And when he said that, I was like,
When
sure
McNabb
it was,
played.
and I can't remember the last time Mike Vick played.
Yeah, Pittsburgh. It's been a minute.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So my 2 cents on coaching and GM, I think they're all like this. And so when one fall, all of them gonna be gone. I think they too close together. They're too
Intertwined.
It's you say you break holders on family, but they are legit family, and so they gonna look over each other's mistakes. They're gonna cover for the other one, and the main one is the guy up top, the one that paid the bills. You got them all in there like that, and they like, look, hey, if you keep me, making money, I'm gonna keep you making money, and as long as people keep coming to the games, we good. We ain't gonna go out and spend all this. We ain't gonna pay this luxury tax. We just gonna keep, they're gonna keep coming because they like football, and we're gonna keep getting this money. And we gonna, as long as we competitive, good. When we start going to the front of the draft, we may have a problem. But as long as we competitive, we good. They're gonna stay there. So my thing is just that's one scenario alone is what I was gonna talk about. The fact that we had this year full of injuries, then you come and draft somebody injured. Then you knew before the draft that you were going to trade Hollywood. You don't pick not one receiver, not Garrett Wilson, not Drake London,
Olave,
no Olave,
No
not
Wanda
Pickens,
Jameson Williams.
nobody. You get nobody, and then you load up on 16 tall UDFAs, which I thought some had promised, but they didn't.
That's your mistake.
I did, but now I'm like, man, you got to show me. You got to show me. Everybody got to show me. I ain't, because after I'm gonna do this video on Travis, but after that, his foot's on neck for however many videos I can get out before Thursday. Because I mean, if I got to make a video just me talking about EDC and the stuff they just screwed up on, but it's something got to change. And if we just go through this and run what we brung, so to speak, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know. They don't show. But they don't care about what's going on the field. But I do have a question for you.
Don't be a minute. Yes, sir.
And it may be for Jose and B2. Are y'all like born and raised Baltimore, right?
I am.
No.
Okay. Well, this for you, Hendo. Born and raised Baltimore.
Yes, sir.
What Ravens player fits the city? Like the identity of the city, like the grid of the city. What Ravens players fits that?
Currently playing
Yeah.
Lamar.
8.
And that's it.
Lamar.
MP.
Yes, Lamar.
Well,
and
I could have answered that question, Coach.
right. He's been here long. They've been here long enough.
I wasn't born there, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. Because I'm not from there. I'm saying.
No, they fit.
But then you need more of that. You need more people.
I
think you need more people that the people that are there on a daily basis and are in the city can gravitate and feel like, hey, we mess with him.
I think that's
and you only got
Lamar
Lamar.
City though.
So again, different cities had different vibes. That's why I said Baltimore.
No.
Different
But I
cities had
mean,
different
which
vibes.
city in Baltimore?
Wait, Najee. No, Najee. PQ is not Baltimore County.
He said BQ is Baltimore County.
It's not Baltimore County. Well, no, I take it back.
Yeah,
he would be East. He would be East Baltimore County.
East Baltimore. That's a good
What
one.
B is saying is there's two sides of Baltimore City.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But listen, I think Travis Jones he has potential to be a Baltimore guy.
Hey, y'all get off PQ in the comment section now.
PQ from Harford County.
Facts. I believe that.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna say this about Travis though, Mike. He was non-existent for several weeks.
Yeah.
Right? And
that's why I said potential.
And then he played a team with a weak interior line. And then he cheated. He cheated to get a sack. Let's stop. Let's just stop until he does.
I'm saying potential to be a Baltimore, like have that Baltimore grit. And I ain't even talking about on the field. I'm talking about his past. That's why he fell in the draft, because he had some questionable moments when he was in college.
I thought it was because of what he put on.
No. I think to fit this city, he has potential to fit this city as a person. And then
Baltimore.
And then on the field, I mean, if he play rough like that on the field, he has potential to be. But no,
we don't. The team don't fit the city.
It doesn't because of John Harbaugh. He took that away from us. He took all the players that gave him attitude, the leaders, the alphas. He said, "I can't have this," and that's exactly what the mutiny was about. Back
Chris McAllister fit the city. Ed Reed fitted.
Listen,
Ray Lewis fitted. Peter Bolwell fitted.
That's my guy.
Darius Thomas, Southern Miss to the top. Those guys.
Yep.
And we don't have none of them.
We don't have them.
But you know who I think fits Baltimore?
Who is that?
And they let him go? Jihad.
Yes.
Toward the end of that game, when we kept running all that gap stuff, Jihad started bringing it to Perricard.
I don't know why we let him go.
Bringing it
because we thought that because of the contract that he had, they thought that if they released him, they could re-sign him for cheaper. But then somebody else scooped him up and was like, "Nope, you ain't getting him back."
Well, he wasn't happy here anyway.
He kept talking about wanting more play.
He wanted more play, but he still wanted to come back though.
Yeah, he would be a healthy scratch, and when he would ball, he would when they actually had him on the field, he would ball out, and then he'd be a healthy scratch the next game.
Yeah, like Coach's guy Prochet.
Listen,
Quad kept Prochet fits this town, just not on the field though.
Just not on the field. But listen, somebody put in a comment that we should go out and sign T.O. And still, at 40-something years old, he would still be our best wide receiver.
He'd be the best one.
He still would be our best wide receiver.
Like, we are so thirsty for talent at wide receiver, man. Like, we just...
We'll take anybody.
We're looking at anything.
Like, we literally got excited. Like, this fan base got excited about Andy Isabella.
Yep. No, we got excited about Bridges.
Yeah,
what just me?
Y'all got excited about Bridges.
Wasn't just me.
Y'all got excited about Williams.
Man, you ain't never wrong. Cut it out.
I'm wrong a lot, Coach, but I knew that undrafted free agents weren't going to come in here and succeed where proven talent hasn't. I knew that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and part of it is they just not good. Never mind.
And we don't literally play rookies on offense like that. Like it's a lose-lose situation for them.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, we hit the 2-hour mark. So again, I appreciate you guys for coming through. This is a great spirited conversation that was needed. I don't think there was no holds barred. Nobody was spared. Everybody, gave their honest opinion. And Ferris stopped Lee Hendo alone. I do want to shout out the best name in the chat box though.
Crown
Crown
Royal.
Royal. Yes, sir.
The best name in the chat box. That was that. Crown Royal. So hey, shout out to Crown Royal for having the best YouTube name ever. And if you want to send me some, please do so. I'll take it. But before we get out of here, I appreciate everybody. There's a link in the comment section for everybody's podcast or show or whatever, but I'm still gonna let them tell you where they're at, and we'll start with Chris.
You can catch me on the Deep Cover Pod, Deep Cover Pod on Twitter, Deep Cover Pod on YouTube. Also started a TikTok, so check that out as well. And you can find me at Chris Just Joking.
Hey, whoa. Whoa. He just came out of nowhere with the slander. He came out of nowhere with the slander. Hendo, you next.
Okay. You can find me at Ravens Online on Gatekeeper. I do a live stream every Sunday, 7 p.m. after the game. I do a pre-game show, but it's recorded every Thursday before the Thursday night game. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at @RGatekeepers. And for Mr. T, my merch link is actually below any video. So if you go onto my page and click on any video, you'll see the link underneath.
Hendo, that merch is fire, bro.
Thank you.
Yes.
That merch is fire.
Yeah, my kid drew that. So
That's tough right there.
That's fire.
That's
the new stuff.
That's tough. That's tough. Mike?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to say, man, it's I look forward to this every week, man. It's a pleasure working with you guys. Follow everybody on this screen, man. Especially, Chris is funny on the low on Twitter. You got Chris be having me dying on Twitter. So, but yeah, man, if you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm OTR_Mike, man. I am the host of Open Mic. I'm gonna say it right this week.
Open
Mic.
Open Mic.
There we go.
Finally got it right.
Mike. Yeah,
Right.
man. Well, OTR Mike is dropping soon, man. I got some episodes in the bank that we already working on. So we just stocking some, man, and then it'll be coming up soon, man. So go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get me up so y'all can search me up. And yeah, man, I'll see y'all next week.
And subscribe him up and like him up.
Exactly.
Facts.
Exactly.
Jose and B.
All right, we are the Lunch Break Hot Take. We do a live show every Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time, followed up by the overtime show for our patrons. So if you want to be a part of that, patreon.com/LBHT show. Also, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at LBHT show. And we do a boxing channel with Mr. OTR Mike called Ring Kings Podcast. All right, we do we put out a podcast every Monday around noon. So you can look for us on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts for both Ring Kings and Lunch Break Hot Take. And you can follow us on Ring Kings at Ring Kings Pod.
All right, and as for myself, you can find me here where you're at. Sip the Tally Films on YouTube. On Twitter, it's Coach Evans 9. On Instagram, it's Sip the Tally. And I also have a TikTok, but I think I got like 2 TikToks. So I guess I need to get to work on that.
Me too.
And most of them like vacation or something. Something I need to get to work on. And I need to be versed in TikTok instead of just watching them all the time.
Yeah.
So again, appreciate you guys for coming through. Appreciate everybody in the chat box for coming through, having great conversation. And some of y'all conversations be better than ours. Like I just be kind of sitting and watching y'all go back and forth, and I be like, But again, I appreciate you guys for coming through. We had over 200 at one point, which is always a good thing for this channel. The growth and the support from everybody, I appreciate it. And support everybody, man. IvanEvans in the chat box. If you don't subscribe to him, which I know most of you do so. I think Raven C was in here earlier. Fairs is a Giants fan. Does he have YouTube stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, he's on the Let's Get Ready Network. It is a NFL show every week. Better friend or good friends, better rivals, and they have a lot of sports content over there as well.
We got Garnett and Suge. What's it called?
Suge Knight 323. It's a Still Conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
Yeah,
that's
on
what
Suge's
it is.
channel. Yep.
Still Conspiracy on Suge's channel. It's Suge's a Steelers fan, but likes the Ravens. And then we all know Garnett's a Ravens fan.
Every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock.
Tuesday at 10. So that's their set schedule. And there's a lot of the Ravens contents out there. Deep cover, you got Cole out there, you got Huddle It Up, you got
shout out to Raven C. Raven C's in the chat.
Raven C. Yeah, I mentioned Raven C earlier. It's a bunch of guys out there, good content. Whether you be a film guy with me and all 22, whether you be just overall Ravens news, that's any Raven, and then you want to get deep into it, you got these guys right here that's on the stage with me. So hey, just keep supporting everybody, and hopefully we get this thing turned around. Coach, Emmanuel says Bobby trusts it too. Go ahead,
Coach. I hate to do this to you.
Do it.
I really don't want to, but I gotta ask you.
Do it.
Did you watch the all 22 on? Did you watch it yet?
Some of it I have.
So did you see the play? I meant to ask y'all this during the show because literally, like, my son accidentally hit the power button after the MP interception. So was it a pass interference or not? I didn't get to see the replay. It was. Okay.
I didn't like the call.
If the ball was it was pass interference because it was a shitty pass.
Wait a minute. Hey, Jose, I don't like the call to answer the question.
I did not like the call.
Was it pass interference?
It was pass interference because it was a bad throw. If he had thrown the ball like where it should have been, there would have been a play on the ball and it would have been pass interference, but because it was behind him, he
was holding him the whole way, though.
He grabbed him from the 1 yard line to the back of the end zone.
That's why I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to extend the conversation any further, but I've been meaning to ask you that. But all right, cool.
But yeah, but it was PI, yeah. It was a right call. And again, y'all hold on for a minute. Everybody else out there, we'll see y'all soon, man. Make sure you hit up everybody this week and click those buttons in the description so you can follow these people.
Support everybody.
Sure.
Hey, no, if you want to see it again, I'm doing the podcast later. It'll be out sometime tonight or in the morning, and we'll tweet that out and put everybody's name on it. So somebody that didn't see it, and you be like, oh man, I listened to this 5 show. You got to look at it, or you got to listen to it. Send them straight to the podcast. It'll be a digital version. They can catch it on the train, catch it in the car, catch it in the plane. They can put an earbud in while the old lady talking to them, so they ain't got whatever.
Engraving. It's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. What you mean keep it going?
Nah, this probably the longest one. But we out for real this time. Peace.